Hi everyone, it's Kelly from Tutor Hustle for Teachers, and welcome back to my YouTube channel where I'm going to talk to you about how you can start your own profitable tutoring side hustle, or maybe you want to leave the classroom and tutor full time. It could work for you too. It's worked for me. So if you like this video about learning how to start your own profitable tutoring side hustle, and you want to see more videos like this, make sure that you hit subscribe, give it a like, and let's get started. Okay, today I want to talk to you about how I tutor online. I love online tutoring for a number of reasons. One, it's very efficient and it gets the job done really well. So I'm able to teach a lot more content online than I am in person because all the little niggly little transition types of things and behavior types of things and that kind of stuff, it's eliminated online basically. It's just I find it just much easier to manage the time. There's no delays, things move very smoothly, and I can pack a lot of teaching into a half an hour. That's how long my one-to-one tutoring sessions are. I find behavior is like it's barely even an issue. Sometimes I'll get kids who are having trouble focusing, and they're they'll wander, they'll not literally wander off, but their eyes will be wandering off to other parts of the room. But then I know it's just time to move on to something else or do something to redirect them. So it's really not that big a deal. Whereas in person, they may actually physically be wandering off or, fidgeting with things on the table or having to go to the washroom and all of this stuff. And it creates delays in the lesson. It ends up taking a lot more time, I find, to tutor in person than it does online. Online, I can create this really great routine and things can just move so smoothly. We can pack a lot of learning into a short amount of time. And the other great thing is that I can get more students into a short amount of time. So if I'm tutoring online and each lesson is half an hour, in 2 hours, I can do 4 students back to back to back to back. Whereas if I'm tutoring in person, that half an hour lesson's not going to work. I'd have to make it at least 45 minutes. So now I can only do 2 students in 2 hours. So it's just a lot more efficient online. It's great. It's better for your business because you can serve more students, and it's better for your students because they can get more learning in a shorter amount of time. And it's better for your families because they don't have to pack everyone up and get in the car and go drive to tutoring. So it's all around a really good thing. Maybe you go to the student's house so they don't have to go anywhere, but that has other problems in and of itself. I don't know if you've noticed, but when you're in the student's house, you can't control the environment. So maybe, one parent is cooking and banging around some pots over there, another parent is vacuuming over here, the dog is barking, the siblings are fighting, and you have no control over that. So when you're in someone else's house tutoring, it can be really difficult. I used to do that all the time when I first started teaching. And so I can compare that experience to what it's like to tutor online. And I can tell you that online is just so much more efficient. Now, I know when the student is at home and they're online, yes, the dog may be barking, and yes, the siblings may be fighting, and yes, there may be a lot of noise in the background, but you're still, their focus is on the screen, right? So they're looking at you on the screen. Kids love to look at the screen, right? So they're looking at you, you're there on the screen. And I find that I can still draw their attention back to me because I'm not being disturbed by all of that stuff. So I still have this really focused energy. And I find that I can easily draw them back to me and get them engaged in the lesson again because I'm really focused. But if I'm in their house and I'm getting distracted by all that other stuff too, then it's just gonna be a mess of a bunch of distracted people, and not as much is going to get done. So that's my little piece on tutoring in students' homes. If you do it and you do it successfully, then that's wonderful. I don't want to discourage you from it if it's working for you. But back to the point of this video, which is to show you how I tutor online. There's many ways of tutoring online. Every tutor is going to have their own unique style and use different tools. This is just what I do, and it really works for me. And I'll show you why in my demonstrations. I use Google Slides, and I really really rely on them to set the structure of my lesson and to let things flow, just let the lesson flow really, really smoothly and really without any interruptions. Now, I know some tutors will have a bunch of different tabs open, like how I do up here, and they'll have, different parts of the lesson in different tabs, and they'll switch from tab to tab to tab during the tutoring session. I find for me that doesn't work because I get very distracted by all those tabs. I get mixed up. I can't remember what's coming next. So for me, Google Slides works because I don't have to think about what's coming up next. I just click the slide and oh, there it is. There's the next activity. So I'm going to show you how I do it. I start with a slide that I personalize for each one of my students, for my one-to-one student. So let's say I have a new student and their name is, let's call them Sarah. So I have a new student named Sarah. So I'm going to put Sarah's name here on the first slide. I'm just going to delete that. And then I'm going to ask Sarah in my first lesson what she likes and how she would like to decorate this slide with all the things that she likes. And maybe she really likes horses. So I'm just going to insert an image here. And I don't do this during the session. I do this after the session because I don't know what's going to come up in Google Images, right? So I'm going to just put an image here of horses here for Sarah. So that's really personalized. And maybe she also likes, I had one student that liked candy. They love candy. So they wanted a picture of candy here. So I'm going to use that. Let's say Sarah really loved candy. So I'm going to find a picture of some candy. I'm going to put it here. And there we go. And now we have some things that Sarah really likes. Now, what I would do is I would probably put like a picture in each corner of something the student likes, and then make this slide really colorful. I might even ask Sarah, what color do you like? We'll choose that for the background. We'll make it really colorful. So now Sarah has her own personal slide. So every time we start the lesson, we open to this slide and it's like she gets that feeling like, wow, this is really just for me. This teacher really cares about me. She knows me. She knows I love horses. She knows I love candy. She knows I love the color pink. And this is going to be really great because this is, all about me and someone that really cares about me. So that's how I always start the lesson, is with a really personalized slide. Now, in the next part of the lesson, so I'm going to actually just type it out for you here, how the rest of the lesson will flow. I'm not going to do each slide. I'm just going to show you the format that I use for the rest of the lesson. So after we greet Sarah with her personalized slide, and we're going to ask her how was her day at school, anything exciting happened. So we're going to build rapport for the next few minutes. We're just going to have some chit chat. Through some chit chat with your student. So we're going to just chat with Sarah. Is that how you spell chit chat? Chit chat with your student. Oh, no, there we go. Chit chat with your student and find out what's going on with them and, build some rapport, give them a chance to share things with you and talk. It's just kind of warms them up and lets them know that you really care about them and that you're there for them and you care about their learning. So I always start with asking them, how was their day? Did anything exciting happen? If it's snowing out, did you get to play in the snow? If it's raining out, did you have indoor recess? So just some general questions like that to build some rapport. The next thing I do is review. So I do a review of things that we've already learned. These might be things that are really easy for the student, and that's okay. Spend the next minute reviewing concepts that they already know. And this is really good because you're just warming them up. So you're starting with easy stuff. It's non-threatening. We're not starting out with the most difficult part of the lesson. We're starting out with stuff that you already know. So we're saying to the student, look, you can do this. You know this. We're starting off easy. We're getting warmed up, and then we're going to get really into it. So always review what the student already knows. Even if you've reviewed it 100 times, just review it again, because it lets the student know that they're in a safe space and that you're not going to ask them to do anything that is beyond their capabilities. That is the whole point of the review. So then after the review, we may do some like easier tasks, like maybe a worksheet or some drills, like letter drills or something like that, learning some new sounds. I'm just going to put in here easier tasks. So they may be new tasks, but they're still easier. They're not very threatening. They're going to be easy for the student to understand, easy for the student to work with. So that's the first, and here's the first 5 minutes of your lesson, right? Build rapport, review, do an easier new task like a worksheet or a drill. And there you go. There's the first 5 minutes of your lesson. And in that first 5 minutes, you're showing the student that they are in a safe space. You're not asking them to do anything beyond their capabilities. You believe in them. You know that they know their stuff. And we're going to have a really great lesson together. So now I teach reading. So after I've done all of these things, I get into teaching the student some new words and some new word families and letter sounds. So I'm going to put like a new concept. So you're going to start teaching some new concepts, and you're going to start off very easy. So start off easy, really break it down, really like take the simplest piece of that new concept. So for me, it's the words and the word families and the word sounds together. That is the easiest piece of this new concept, is just to start off by looking at the words, because we're working up to reading a book in my case, because I'm a reading tutor. We're working up to reading a book, but I don't start off by having the student read that book right away, because that would be too hard for them and too intimidating. So I'm starting off by teaching them the things that they're going to need to know in order to read that book. So I'm introducing the new concepts. I'm starting off easy. I'm giving them what they need to know as they build up to a more difficult task. Okay, so that's what you do. Then you're going to get into the the meat of the lesson, like the really new difficult task. In my case, it will be reading the book. So I'm going to put reading a new story. Um, maybe for you, maybe you're a math tutor, so maybe you're going to solve a new math problem. Um, Something that's really like that's going to be probably the most challenging part of the lesson. So I'm going to write that down. So solve a new math problem. Yeah, that works. Most challenging part of the lesson. Now you're getting into that. So see how we have worked up to that? We've worked up to that by building rapport, reviewing things the student already knows, introducing some very easy tasks, teaching the new concepts that they're going to need to know to do this more challenging part of the lesson. We've warmed them up with what they need to know. So we've given them the foundation of what they need to know to do this more challenging part of the lesson. Then we move into the challenging part of the lesson, like the real meat of the lesson. This is where the real learning is going to happen. They're going to be the most challenged right here in the whole lesson, right here in the middle. Okay, when that's done, and they've been very, very challenged, and they may be hopefully they're not frustrated, but they may sometimes come close to that point. You don't want to frustrate them and have them shut down, but they may come close to the point of frustration, like they've really, really pushed themselves. So now after they push themselves and they've done this really challenging part of the lesson, you're going to bring it right back down, and you're going to play some games. Now, these games are going to be like not just like tic-tac-toe or some random game like that. These are games that are related to what you're learning. So, for example, if you're a math tutor, play some math games, but make sure that they are games that the student knows, that are going to be easy for the student to understand. So if you haven't, for example, learned about multiplication yet, don't play a multiplication game. Play an addition game, because the student knows how to add. So you're going to play a game that is relatively easy for the student, and it, again, is reviewing things that they already know. So the game should be a learning game. It should be a review of what they already know, and it should not be super, super challenging. Don't do two super challenging things back to back in a tutoring lesson. So you've already had this really challenging part of the lesson here where the student has read a new story or solved a new math problem, done something very challenging. So don't make the games challenging too. Make them a little bit easier, a little fun, a little light. So you brought them way up with that challenge, and now whoosh, you're letting them come back down again and have some fun with some games and unwind. So that's what we do. We always play some games, and then you could do some more, review some more, review some more concepts, or introduce some new easy concepts, introduce some new easier concepts, or make sure you introduce them in like an easier way for the student to digest that information. And then at the very end, I always play my own signature game. So I always end the lesson in the same way every time, end the lesson in the same way. So it could be that you play your own signature game that you have, or you could end the lesson with, you know, a word problem or something that you want to give to the student if you're a math tutor, or maybe you end the lesson by reading them a story if you're a reading tutor. But you have to think of this something that you can always do that's the same. So I always do the same thing to end every single lesson, because it just brings everything to a nice close and it provides some predictability to the student. So you see, this is like, this is a very structured routine right here. These slides provide a very structured routine, and all of this goes into Google Slides. All of these parts of the lesson go into Google Slides. You'll see like 20 different slides down here. So all I have to do is click, 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 and I know what's coming next. I don't have to worry about clicking all those tabs up there and thinking about, oh my gosh, what am I doing next? I forget. I don't have to write it all down. It's all right there for me. I just click, 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 and go through the lesson really, really easily. So you build this whole routine into Google Slides. And the other nice thing too is once you have lots of slides created, you can use them again for other students that may be at the same or similar level. And you can add to them and add new things to them by not having to recreate the whole slide, but just by adding something to an existing slide. So it starts to make your life a lot easier once you have your slides created and you have like a big bank of slides that you can use. That's the other nice thing about Google Slides, because all you have to do is go like this: File, Import Slides, and you can import slides from any other slideshow that you have. Any slides that you want. You don't have to import the whole thing. You can just choose the slides that you want, and you can import them into your slideshow right here. So something that you use for one student, like maybe a game, you can also use for another student and another student. So you don't have to keep recreating the slides every single time. And I really love that about Google Slides. So you're building a routine right into the slides. And now the kids will get to know this routine, and having a predictable routine, I cannot tell you how valuable that is. If you've been a classroom teacher, you already know this. Kids need to have a predictable routine. If you have a predictable routine, like 90% of your behavior is going to be gone, because kids feel safe and they feel good when they know what's coming up next and they know what to expect. And that reduces so much behavior, I can't even tell you. And also lets them trust you. So they want to work with you and they want to do a good job. It just creates a really safe space for them and a really, really good learning environment. So build always the same routine into your Google Slides. So you see, every day we start with building rapport. Every day we start with this personalized slide. Every day we go into a review. Every day we then slowly work up to our big, big part of the lesson, our big challenging thing that we're going to do. In this case, reading a book, a new book. And then every day they know after they've done that big challenging thing, they're going to get to come down and relax by playing some games. And then we may review a few more concepts, and then we're going to end the lesson in the same way every time. And in my case, I always play the same game with them every time. So when they see that game coming, they know, wow, okay, the lesson is almost over. It's time for us to play this game. It's going to be so much fun. And then we'll say goodbye. So build that routine into your Google Slides if you're going to use Google Slides. And if you're not, still build the same routine all the time into your tutoring lessons, and you'll find that things are just going to flow so easily, and your students are going to love it because they're going to know what's coming next, and they're going to feel very safe, like they're in a very safe, predictable environment with you. And that is the best environment to learn in because they can relax. They don't have to worry about what's coming up next. They know everything's going to be fine. It was fine the last lesson, the next, every lesson is pretty much the same. It's just that the material in the lesson may change, but the structure of the lesson is the same. So they know they can handle it. They can do this. They feel confident and ready to learn. That's a wonderful learning environment for your students. So that's how I tutor online using Google Slides. Google Slides are my best online tutoring friend. Maybe you use Google Slides, maybe you don't. Maybe you'd like to try them. Either way, I hope that you found this video helpful. And if you did, then please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. And if you would like to learn more about online tutoring, then definitely join my Facebook group, Tutor Hustle for Teachers. We'll be talking some more about all things tutoring there. And check out my website, which is linked below, and you can learn more there as well. Have a great day.